She stepped on campus, opened up season with a game under the lights in Los Angeles against UCLA. You see there this past week, complete game, 2-hit shutout against Texas State. First round of RPIs came out today. Texas State not too shabby, number 19. So great competition there for Tegan Cavan to showcase what the freshman's made of.
The fans are ready to go. They have the supplies, the food, the drinks. We are hoping for a good one tonight. Texas is outscoring their opponents by an average of 9-1 on the season so far. And keep in mind, the new ESPN USA softball rankings come out tomorrow. And the big question is, will Texas be #1 in the nation after Oklahoma lost to an unranked Louisiana team over the weekend?
Yeah, the question is going to be, where do the voters feel that Louisiana falls? A program traditionally in the talks for top 25 this year right now, just 10-11, that 10th win being yesterday against Oklahoma. But there's a case for the Longhorns to be top of the poll.
Going to be an interesting debate as Cavan starts out with strike number 1 to Haley Brunson, the terrific junior transfer from Pittsburgh. In her first year with the Nittany Lions, leads the Big Ten in doubles with 8 on the season. It's a Penn State team that pulled off a big win earlier this year against Arkansas, taking down the Razorbacks 3-2 in extra innings. It's the first time Penn State had beaten a ranked team in 2 years, as this one slices foul. Bella Dayton there getting the start in left field. Caden Henry, the freshman, in center. Maloney in right. The infield is Alyssa Washington there at short. Scott at third, Good at second. Jolie Mitchell at first. And Katie Stewart starting behind the dish. Strikeout number 1 on the night as Cavan gets the leadoff hitter.
Well, right as Haley Brunson feels like she's getting her timing down, Tegan Cavan comes in with this changeup. It tunnels so well. Her motion is so flawless. That pitch, we'll see a lot of it tonight. Penn State's going to have to be able to combat it.
Cavan so far to start off her Texas career, 40 strikeouts compared to 6 walks. This pitching staff as a whole, a microscopic ERA of .70 on the season.
A big proponent of that, or a big reason of that ERA and just their effectiveness. Coach White in the offseason, with the addition of the 3rd assistant on staff this year, went and hired Patty Ruth Taylor. Patty Ruth Taylor takes over the day-to-day with the pitchers. You see her there. She's calling in the pitches now as well. But she's in the bullpen every single day with the pitchers, something Texas Arms weren't getting the last couple years. Coach White said pitchers love the attention, and I'll be a testament. Yes, we do love the attention, and we love someone being in there when we're working on our craft. So, but Patty Ruth Taylor has done a tremendous job, and if you talk to the Texas staff.
But Maddie Gordon gets into one, and Penn State jumps in front 1-0. Gordon, the junior, taking Cavan deep for the early Nittany Lions lead, and they are pumped.
This pitch, low rise ball that just does not get in enough. That's over the plate. Maddie Gordon hitting 500 on the week, 4 RBIs, so she is seeing the ball well. If there's one area of concern to circle for Tegan Cavan, it is the amount of home runs she's given up in her young career. But again, sometimes that comes with the territory. When you're a strikeout pitcher, you're hard to hit. When you leave one over, they're ready to hit it.
Swinging away is Caitlin Morrison, one of the best hitters on the team, for out number 2. Not used to seeing that off Texas pitching this year. That's the 3rd home run Texas's pitching staff has allowed this year, all coming with Cavan in the circle. So here is Gabby Garcia, the cleanup hitter. And you talk about a big-time power hitter, the transfer from Stephen F. Austin, top 15 in the nation a year ago with 18 home runs and 37 for her career.
Well, Morrison has been able to contribute to this offense in every game this weekend, whether it's RBIs, getting on base.
And that'll do it for the top half of the first. But Penn State strikes for line of Maddie Volpe, who is undefeated on the season at 5-0.
Well, Volpe really has carried the load here for the Nittany Lions. We've seen her start. We've seen her come in relief. She's been their go-to in clutch situations, so they're going to give her the ball, and she has a little wiggle room to work with.
It's an interesting story as Caden Henry, the freshman, takes strike one. Penn State is without their ace this weekend. Bridget Namath, the freshman who was just named Big Ten Freshman of the Week. One of the best pitchers in the conference so far. Penn State said she is currently medically unavailable to compete.
Well, that's a blow to your pitching staff, especially if you're used to starting you have a 1A and 1B, and then your other pitchers are typically relief pitchers. We saw Lydia Spalding, the lefty for Penn State, get her first start of the year here in Austin.
Henry retired. And so it's Volpe, as you said, getting the bulk of the work this weekend. Went 9-1 last year with the Chanticleers of Coastal Carolina, with a 2.6 ERA. One away for Mia Scott, who has reached in 7 straight. Take strike one.
Well, Texas offense has, as you mentioned, been dominating, but all the conversation has been around Reese Atwood. But the hitters that are surrounding her are really doing their job, which doesn't allow opposing defenses and pitchers to freely put her on. Although we did see Penn State intentionally walk a hitter from Tarleton State, Katie Schaefer, 3 times in a contest yesterday.
That one bounces into the glove of Morrison, and despite the great effort from Mack at first, Scott is safe. How about Caitlin Morrison, the senior from South Park, Pennsylvania, doing the splits but unable to record the out.
Well, this is good range by Morrison. That's not a hard hit ball. That was a jam job that just floated up the middle. Great play on that, and yes, the effort by Amanda Mack over there. But Mia Scott's speed records the first out for the Longhorns. First base hit for the Longhorns.
Here is Katie Stewart, the freshman, who has now reached in 16 straight games, including a hit in 12 straight. Jumped right into that 3 spot in the lineup in her first year and done a tremendous job.
Well, talking about their offense, and if Reese Atwood were ever to get the treatment where intentional base on balls are coming her way, I feel like Texas could flip-flop Katie Stewart and Reese Atwood. Katie Stewart can protect her. Not that Leanne Good, who's behind her in the 5 spot now, can't as well, but Texas has the hitters now to be able to protect somebody if they start getting the walks. But we talk about her streak, her average, but when Katie Stewart connects with one, it goes.
And Stewart, by the way, also leads the team in walks with now her 16th of the year. So 2 of the first 3 batters reaching. Stewart has reached safely in 17 straight. You talk about Reese Atwood, and here she comes with 2 on. Atwood, #1 in the nation in RBIs and tied for 2nd in home runs.
Well, the sophomore has really made adjustments to her mindset and to her swing this year. Texas fans and softball fans across this country saw her heat up towards the second half of conference play last year. But she's used that success to propel her to go to work. You talk to her, she's worked in the weight room to get stronger. And you watch her swing, she's now able to cover the outer half of the plate a lot more consistently than she did a year ago.
Watches the count go 1-1. Atwood didn't reach in the last game for just the 2nd time all year. That falls behind 1-2. Volpe aggressive in the circle to start. Atwood drills one to left field and just foul. Oh, my goodness. She crushed another one, but just missed.
She did crush this, and it was higher than the foul pole, so hard to determine, but
that reaction says it all. Almost. And we talked about Volpe being aggressive there and left one over the plate.
Well, the thing with Reese Atwood is you can show her a rise ball and she's going to get her timing. She likes the high pitch. Doesn't mean she doesn't miss it on occasion, but she will time it up extremely well, and Volpe tried to go there up in the zone again.
Wow, and comes right back with a strikeout of Reese Atwood.
Well, Volpe used a changeup low in the zone after the foul home run. This is a changeup as well. Floats higher than she probably wants it to, but it does the job, and you see the excitement. She knows the big hitter that she just retired.
Huge out, now 2 away. Still 2 on for Leanne Good, who has found her swing a month into the season. Good now riding a 6-game hitting streak and has bumped that average up to 400 on the year.
Well, Good leading the Texas Longhorns in this invitational with 8 RBIs. She has been clutch in this 5-hole, being able to drive in the runs when Texas needs them.
Now Texas's everyday starting second baseman.
She's been able to work her way back into the lineup. Off to a little slow start to the season simply because she wasn't in the lineup early on, coming off a wrist surgery that she had over the winter break. Texas wasn't rushing her to get back to swinging every game, every day. Saw her pinch run a little bit in their first trip out to California, but slow and steady wins the race.
Volpe coming right at these Texas hitters. 2-2 with 2 away. Maddock in foul territory makes the grab, so Texas gets a single and a walk, but they strand 2. 1-0 Penn State after 1. In home run off Tegan Cavan in the first inning, and they now have the 5, 6, and 7 hitters due up here in the second.
Well, Cavan gonna have to settle in a little bit and be a little bit more precise with her pitches. The one left over the plate to Maddie Gordon, she took for a ride, but Penn State has been very aggressive in their at-bats since the first day of this tournament. Coach Crowell talking to us about how she wanted the offense to be more aggressive, to control the at-bats, not to be waiting to see what can happen, but to make things happen.
Audrey Mendoza fouls one off, freshman out of San Diego, hitting .333. Penn State's been involved in some close games this weekend here at the Invitational. They beat Tarleton State by 1 run in extras. They beat Northwestern State by 1. And then yesterday in a rematch with Tarleton, they had to rally back from a 5-1 deficit to win.
Coach Crowell talks about her team and says they're gritty and tough, and we've been able to see that all weekend long. Plenty of moments with their backs against the wall, and they respond.
Coming off back-to-back 30-win seasons. First time Penn State had pulled that off in 20 years. The goal this year, get to their first regional since 2011. Just missed out last year. Payoff pitch and strikeout number 2 for Tegan Cavan.
Well, Cavan going upstairs. The difference, this is really tight to Mendoza there. You see it on the inner corner. Great location, great jump on that rise ball from Tegan Cavan.
1 away for Liana Jones, senior from Pennsylvania, hitting .304. Now, if she can get on base, she is a major threat. Leads the team in stolen bases. This Penn State team likes to run.
Well, Jones has a lot of speed. You'll see that displayed in the outfield as well. Able to track down number of fly balls that could have been extra base hits this weekend. The biggest hit off her bat, a 2 RBI triple in game 1 for Penn State to secure the victory.
Speedy center fielder behind 0-2. Back-to-back strikeouts for Kavan.
Well, another rise ball from Kavan, and again, she's able to keep that tight to Liana Jones. This freshman starting to climb the ladder a little bit against these Nittany Lions.
2 away for a dangerous hitter in Emily Maddock, hitting .327. Last year, Maddock had one of the best seasons in program history, hit .439. It was top 15 in the country. Second best batting average in a single season in Penn State history. Pretty talented top to bottom. You got Maddock down at the 7 spot, again coming off one of the best years in program history.
Well, that's 2 spots up. She's been in the 9 hole for the Nittany Lions for the whole tournament. So Coach Crowell and Coach Bagata talking about their lineup and mixing things up to where she might have more RBI opportunities with the average that she's been having.
Good on to first. 1-2-3 inning worked by Kavan and the Texas defense. Second inning with a player Mike White just can't keep out of the starting lineup right now. Jolie Mitchell, the transfer from Notre Dame, hitting nearly .400 so far in her Texas career. Leads the team in stolen bases. And this may be the best starting lineup Mike White has had during his time here in Austin, top to bottom.
Well, best starting lineup as well as just deepest roster, I believe, in program history, with the fact that you have athletes like right now, Viviana Martinez, Katie Simis, Victoria Hunter, all coming off the bench. And when you look at their averages and what they've been able to produce so far this season, it's numbers of starting lineups for a number of different clubs across the country.
Texas has outscored their opponents by 143 runs this year. 163-20. Two and two from Volpe. What did you see out of the junior pitcher in the first inning for Penn State?
Well, Volpe's doing a really good job of locating her curve and screw, keeping it mid-thigh to knee-high, not elevating it to where Texas can drive it.
Except for that one.
The key for Volpe is going to be when she tries to use that rise ball and get it elevated, it has to be in tight. If you leave it over the plate, Texas can do some damage, and that's the second very loud foul home run we've seen.
Texas a few feet away from having a 2-1 lead right now. Full count to Mitchell. Second walk of the night issued by Volpe.
Really good eye right there by Jolie Mitchell. It was a well-placed curveball in the outer half. It's a pitcher, that's a pitch you want. See if you can bait the hitter to swing, but stretch the plate just a little bit.
So Mitchell on first for Alyssa Washington. Washington coming off the first 2 home run game of her career on Friday. Washington's a player for her career hitting about .275, but look at the average for this year to start off. .375 with 3 homers to boot. And now Volpe having a bit of trouble finding the strike zone.
Trying to work that outer half to the Longhorns, but missing by just a few inches out there. Has to be able to split that corner in order to get that call.
She does have 28 walks in a little over 40 innings this year, including 2 tonight. A 3-1 count on the way.
Volpe just needs to find the energy again.
Washington. 1 away. Volpe getting the outs when she needs them. Allowed 2 of the first 3 to reach, then retired the next 2. Issued the leadoff walk to Mitchell in this inning. Gets Washington to pop up. Alyssa Washington, and here is Ashton Maloney hitting .406.
I wouldn't be surprised in this situation if we see Jolie Mitchell on the move, whether it's a slap and run or even just given the steal, the way Ashton Maloney can control the bat head, put the ball in play. Mitchell does, as you said, lead the team in steals, 6 for 6 on the year.
There's a very good defensive catcher behind the plate for Penn State, Gabby Garcia. So we'll see what Texas does on the bases. Corners playing in. That one missed. Count evened up at 2. Three of the first 7 batters have reached so far against Volpe. 2-2 on the way. Swing and a miss. Runner is going. The throw to second. And Mitchell is in there safe. That is strikeout number 2 for Volpe, but Texas now with a runner in scoring position.
Volpe working the outer half, and you see that screwball continuing to tail away from Ashton Maloney. Great jump by Jolie Mitchell. Even with a clean catch, she's there.
So Mitchell at second for Bella Dayton, who's hitting just under 400 on the year, coming off a 3-hit performance yesterday.
3 for 3 that all went a combined 15 feet, maybe.
Taking advantage of the bunt. And when she gets a hit, Texas is almost unbeatable. Last 2 years, the Longhorns are 30-4 when Bella Dayton records a hit. One and 2.
On first baseline. Finds herself on safely 3 times.
The bunt bully, Bella Dayton.
It's one of those, when she came up the 3rd time, I thought for sure she's not doing it again. And as soon as she squared, I was like, man.
That was her second 3-hit game of the year.
Well, there's a competitive streak that you see in Bella Dayton in big games and big moments. We talk about Texas's record when she gets a hit, and it doesn't even necessarily mean that hit is meaningful to the score, but she just brings a competitive fire when she's in the lineup.
Her and Jolie Mitchell have that same intense look when they come up to the plate. Serious competitors.
We're waiting for Jolie Mitchell's moment. If you're a Texas fan, Bella Dayton's moment was sliding across home in Oklahoma City.
But unfortunately for the Longhorns, that is not her moment here. And one hitters due up for Penn State. They have just one batter so far who's reached against Cavan, but it was the difference. A Maddie Gordon home run. Ever since then, Cavan has set down 5 in a row.
Well, Kavan started using that rise ball and making sure it was tight to the hitter, so she was doing a good job of stretching the zone and tunneling her pitch within the strike zone and then stretching it out. Also saw her changeup become a factor in play.
Two 2-1 to Amanda Mack. It's a Penn State team. It's pretty young, despite the senior here and there like Amanda Mack. They graduated 11 seniors from a season ago.
When you graduate that many, even the seniors you still have on roster, a lot of time it's the experience. So while in classification they might seem like they're older, do they have the experience on the field in the crucial situations against the big opponents for it to pay off as they roll into that starting spot? But Coach Crowell extremely pleased with how this team has been able to adjust.
Get off to the best start in program history. Full count offering misses. Second base runner of the night for Penn State.
Playing second base, number 24, Giselle Hernandez.
In the 9 spot, here is Giselle Hernandez, freshman out of California, hitting .333. We have a pinch runner taken over at first, Jenna Nelson. Sophomore with some speed on the bases. Katie Stewart catching tonight for Texas. Stewart has an arm. We've talked about that this year. Hasn't had too many opportunities to show it off yet.
Well, she's actually gotten 3 starts behind the plate this weekend. But no one attempting to steal on the freshman. Her getting some action here, letting Reese Atwood rest a little bit before they start into conference play. But anytime a program can have 2 solid catchers, it helps keep both of their legs fresh.
Count 0-2. You mentioned conference play. So after tonight, Texas has one more non-conference game here on Wednesday night against UT Arlington. Then it's off to Houston for a Big 12 series. Next weekend, back home for a conference series against BYU. 0-2 on the way to Hernandez. Strikeout number 4 for Kavan.
Well, until they make an adjustment, there's no reason to quit throwing it. You see again, Kavan going up in the zone inside to these right-handed hitters. She has found an area to expose, and like I said, until Penn State makes the adjustment, Patty Ruth Taylor is going to keep calling it, and Kavan's going to continue to execute.
Back up to the top of the order, and Haley Brunson, who in 82 games playing for Pitt, hit 5 home runs. She's already hit 3 in her first month in a Nittany Lions uniform. Take strike 1.
Well, there's something to be said about the environment you're playing in. Obviously, Penn State, the culture is great, the belief in each other. You hear the energy coming from the dugout. But Coach Crowell talking about Brunson and just the impact she's made.
Gets into one to center field. Henry backing up and makes the grab. Wind really not much of a factor. A little bit blowing out to center field. There is out number 2.
She always liked to see a transfer being able to go in and make an impact and be a name and someone that the head coach is excited to write their name in the lineup every day. Coach Crowell high on both Haley Brunson and see later on in this lineup, Gabby Garcia.
And Maddie Gordon, who went yard in the first inning. Just the 3rd home run Texas pitching has allowed all season. Came up huge on Saturday and drove in the game-winning run in the top of the 8th inning. The victory against Tarleton State, that was a home run swing and a miss.
Well, Maddie Gordon has seen plenty of softball in her life. She's the younger sister with Kate Gordon, who played for James Madison University. Their historic run through to Oklahoma City and the championship games.
You talk about a home run hitter, and Kate Gordon, she had 71 career home runs with James Madison.
Well, and she was the offensive spark behind the pitching of Odyssey Alexander.
But her sister strikes out here. Kavan seems to know. Coach, your team came out aggressive. What do you make of the start so far for the junior pitcher, Maddie Volpe?
Oh, she's doing a great job. You know, she's doing a really great job. We came in with a plan, and I think she's executing it really well. So just really pleased with what Maddie's been able to do in the circle.
Well, Coach, I asked you yesterday, so I'm going to ask you again. The 1% better, what was the focus coming into the game against Texas?
You know, for us, we knew it's going to have to be one of those games where we pitch it strong, we play great defense, we find ways to get runners on base, and we've got to be great at situational hitting. So I think, you know, we've had some good at-bats, but I do expect us to have some better at-bats. So overall, happy with the way we're playing the game, which is what we always put our focus on, because our kids they're excited, they're having fun, and they're competing hard.
Appreciate it, Coach. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Coach.
See in the background there, they're certainly having fun. Well, here we go. Second time through the order for Texas. This has been their big inning this year. More than 40 runs scored on the season in the third inning. Caden Henry leading off.
Well, Alex, you mentioned them having fun behind Coach there during the interview all weekend long. We saw some mock charting going on. There was a conga line behind her. They've made the most of their time with the camera on.
They're playing loose and relaxed all season long. Meanwhile, here's a hitter in Caden Henry, who's moved up to the leadoff spot about 4 games ago. Since then, has hit 2 home runs in the last 72 hours. Texas scored 54 runs in the third inning this year.
Well, the freshman provides a lot of spark because you saw her show bunt. She can play small ball, has a lot of speed, but at the same time, as you mentioned, Alex, she can leave the yard. So has power, consistent hitting. Would expect an athlete that we're going to see to be in that leadoff spot for the long haul.
Talked about her power. She's already hit as many home runs this year as she did all last season as a senior in high school.
I have to imagine there were probably times in high school that she might have been intentionally walked just so her team didn't score.
Just a few times as that one grabbed by Volpe, one away. Texas with 1 hit so far, a couple of walks against the junior. Here's Mia Scott, who came up with a lone hit off of her in the first, a single.
Number 10, Mia Scott.
Scott has now reached in 8 straight games. Pitching and defense, that's what the Nittany Lions pride themselves on. So far this season, that's helped them win 15 of 16.
Well, coming into the game, I would have said the offense isn't real flashy. You don't see a ton of home runs, extra base hits. Now, granted, first inning of the game, Maddie Gordon goes ahead and leaves the yard, but they've been able to just string things together. But as you mentioned, it's the defensive side of the ball that gives them that energy and momentum going into offense.
Yeah, that home run by Gordon was only their 10th homer of the year. Compare that to Texas, who has 28 home runs. But they are finding ways to get it done. Hitters count on the way to Scott. Volpe works her way back to a full count.
3-1 pitch is probably one Mia Scott wants back to drive, coming middle in, good height.
I was going to say, Mia Scott rarely strikes out, just once all year in 60 plate appearances. And she will earn the free pass.
Well, I think if you're a Texas fan, you're holding your breath because this pitch looks really pretty, but maybe just an inch inside.
No, you're not buying it?
I'd have a hard time as a pitcher taking that one, but definitely would have asked where it missed.
So Volpe has issued 3 walks. It has not come back to hurt her yet. Here's Katie Stewart, who walked in the first inning. Here's Scott with 3 stolen bases on the year.
Well, to your point, Alex, with the way Texas has been hitting, Coach White hasn't had to force action with stolen bases as much. And we talked about Katie Stewart and her ability to hit, and obviously the whole country knows about Reese Atwood up to this point. So you don't have to force a lot of motion in your runners when you have hitters that can produce, move runners on their own, and the ball in the gap. Mia Scott scores from first 90% of the time.
There's Atwood waiting in the wings, and Volpe starting to fall behind fairly often now to Texas batters. 2-1 lifted to center. Not deep enough as Jones is there. Give Volpe credit. She's given up at least a base runner, at least one every inning, but coming right back and recording outs, forcing Texas to strand those runners. 2 away now for the aforementioned Reese Atwood.
Why you said Volpe's getting behind some hitters, getting deep in counts.
Atwood swinging at the first pitch. Jones is right there for a while. What are you looking for out of your offense right now to try and get going at this point?
I just think we're over anxious. We're way ahead of the ball right now, and we've got to slow down a little bit and drive the inside half of the softball and drive it to center. You know, we've got to stay inside.
Coach Tegan Cavan, obviously the early home run given up, but how do you like what she's doing since then, settling in?
Yeah, she's using some off speeds to go along. They're leaning on her a little bit, so we got to slow their bats down. And you know, the ball's carrying a little bit today, so we've got to make sure we keep it in the ballpark. And you know, she's doing a good job.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Hey, thank you, Hookham.
Kat, we were talking about the new polls. Do you think Texas does jump Oklahoma? Because you look at it, Texas has 3 wins against teams that were in the top 10. Their only loss was in extras to a ranked Stanford team. It seems like their wins and their loss is better than the Sooners.
I would think just with the way, as you mentioned, compare the 2 losses. Yes, Texas is to a ranked opponent, extra innings where you go ITB. So a runner's put on, not necessarily an earned base runner. OU, same way, it was ITB, but you lose to Louisiana. And now don't get me wrong, a program that historically is great, but right now in the moment, sub 500. You would think it would be obvious to move Texas up, but at the same time, I do think there's a level of respect for OU and what they've been able to accomplish. 71-game win streak, and that dates obviously back to last season, but even through this season, they've been able to figure out how to win when their backs are against the wall a few times, and there's something to that.
This one drilled to center field off the bat of Morrison, but right at Henry. Hey, you saw the Oklahoma State banner right next to OU here at McCombs Field. They're ranked in the top 10 as well in Kenny Gajewski's squad.
And they're the top 10. Baylor has sneaked into the top 25,
yeah.
So they're making some noise down there in Waco as well.
Here is Gabby Garcia in the cleanup spot. Swing and a miss. She hit the portal coming over from Stephen F. Austin. Penn State said we simply looked at her numbers in 3 years at SFA, 37 homers, 336 average. They immediately reached out. She lifts one to center field, and again, Henry is there.
Positive side of the portal is when you see athletes with that type of experience. They've played for 3 or 4 years. If it's a COVID senior, you're able to see production out of them. And Penn State needing an everyday catcher, and she's come in. She has caught all 5 games of the tournament this weekend. She has not had an inning break, so she is Penn State's catcher.
2 away for the freshman Audrey Mendoza, hitting .320 in her first year with the Nittany Lions. Tegan Kavan, 5 strikeouts, a walk, and just 1 hit allowed. But that hit still holding up. Solo home run to the second batter of the game, Maddie Gordon. And another one to center field. Henry makes the grab on the track. 1-2-3 inning recorded by Kavan, Henry, and the Horns. State Longhorns offense still looking to get going. Good Mitchell and Washington duo here in the 4th. So Texas getting shut out tonight. They were held to 4 runs in the win yesterday. What are you noticing out of their bats right now?
Well, yesterday they were just missing. They were up against a very good left-handed pitcher from Hofstra. Took a little bit for them to adjust. She threw high velo, had a good change of speeds. Tonight just looks like they're a little bit passive. Working some counts, but not aggressive in hitters' counts. But also their timing's a little off. You see a lot of pop flies, not able to get on top of the ball. Usually they can hit upspin pretty well. So I think that was what Coach Mike White was alluding to, was being able, not getting too far out in front, being able to get their barrel on plane with the up pitch.
They've had a base runner every inning. 3 walks and a single so far for the Texas offense, which again came in number 3 in the nation in runs per game. 9 runs per game behind Miami of Ohio and Florida. 3-1 to Leanne Good. Volpe again continues to work her way back into counts after falling behind.
Don't usually say a pitcher works well deep in the count, but Volpe does. She gets deep in the count. She doesn't let it phase her. She continues to attack the zone, try to stretch the plate.
And that is the 3rd mammoth foul ball to left field.
And I think that might be part of the reason Coach White says they're getting out in front too, is they've had a lot of hard hits that are foul. He wants to see them on time, but some of that is being able to commit to just the inside pitch. Give yourself space to be able to drive that as Volpe keeps tucking it in.
4th walk of the game issued. So again, Texas with a runner every inning. There is action in the Penn State bullpen. The sophomore Paige Maynard warming up. Again, the Nittany Lions without their ace, Big Ten Freshman of the Week, Bridget Namath, for this tournament. So Good over at first. And here is the transfer Jolie Mitchell coming up to the plate. Mitchell walked to begin the 2nd inning. Takes a strike here. At one point last year with Notre Dame had a 35-game on-base streak going. Rips one to left field, but again, foul. Mike White talked about these batters being a little bit over-anxious right now.
Well, and this is what we're talking about. So this pitch, a screwball in the inner half, and you see Texas just way early ripping them foul down that left field line. Coach White wants to be able to see them a little bit more behind it so they can keep that fair. But tip your hat, Maddie Volpe continuing to stretch farther and farther in, and some of that you have to be disciplined. It has to stay on the corner. So if you're going to give yourself space, you can't chase if she keeps running that screwball closer to the hitter's body.
Time is called. It's weird. On one hand, Texas is being patient. They have earned more walks than strikeouts. But when they are swinging, a little bit too early. That one past the 3rd baseman, Maddock. That's going to stay a fair ball. Leanne Good slides into 3rd, and Texas in business here in the 4th. Mitchell timed it up just right.
Well, Jolie Mitchell knows how to be clutch. This is an off-speed pitch, trying to be outside over the middle of the plate. She pulls this, hugs it right down the left field line, bounces right over the bag. Texas in business with 2 runners in scoring position.
But we will have a challenge. That one looked fair at first glance. Jolie Mitchell came up with a double down the line past Maddock. First challenge of the contest currently taking place.
See there, it bounces, it clears the bag. Question is whether that's on the chalk line or not.
I mean, obviously well past the bag.
Yeah. And to me, it looks like as it crosses the bag.
So Mitchell currently stands at second, Leanne Goodover at third. And the call stands. Here comes Alyssa Washington, the captain. Tying run at third, go-ahead run at second. Washington flew out in the second. Off to a great start this year, hitting .366.
Well, and this is a situation that Texas has thrived in, hitting .672 with a runner at third, less than 2 outs.
First pitch ball from Volpe. Washington, that one past Maddock. Here comes good to tie the game, and Mitchell will put Texas in front 2-1. The captain delivers again.
Well, an inside pitch, but Alyssa Washington stays on time with this. You still see going down that left field line, but able to hug right past the third base side. 2 RBIs for Alyssa Washington, but Texas starting to make that adjustment, not pulling that ball completely foul as often. Coach White has to be happy to see that.
What a tear Alyssa Washington has been on this year. Her 3rd double of the season. 3 straight Texas batters have now reached, and here comes Ashton Maloney with Washington at second. Still no outs here in the 4th inning. Maloney showing bunt. There's strike 1. Texas finally breaking through against Maddie Volpe, who has been strong out there in the circle. But you can see the Longhorns just timing up the last few at-bats. Whereas before that, it had been a few feet to the left of third base in the previous 3 innings.
Well, you heard Coach Crowell talk about the fact they had a game plan coming in, and she thought Maddie Volpe was executing it to perfection. And some of that is, even if you get deep in the count, continue to buy into what we're doing. Don't try to adjust your pitch too much. She's done that, but Texas on the flip side adjusted to that inside pitch. So now the question is going to be, what is Volpe and Coach Crowell going to go to in order to continue to have success?
Charging in Mack, the throw to first in time. A bang-bang play as Washington advances to third.
That's a nice bunt by Ashton Maloney, but Amanda Mack on top of it. Great job by Hernandez there to hold on to that as that throw takes her into the runner.
So that's the first out of the inning, and we'll have a pinch hitter coming up for Bella Dayton. It's Vic Hunter, the freshman out of Houston, who is hitting .450 to begin her Texas career. Mike White has told us he is trying to find at-bats for her in just about every game coming off the bench. She's also earned a couple of starts this year. So here we go. She has Washington at third and takes ball 1 from Volpe. Hunter with a couple of home runs, a triple, and a couple of doubles. She smacks one to left field and makes it a 3-1 Texas lead. The freshman coming through.
Well, Coach White and Coach Singleton opting for right-handed power hitter here because Volpe's been using that screwball when it tails away from a left-handed hitter, harder to stay with. This pitch over the middle of the plate, and Victoria Hunter able to drive in an RBI.
We may have a pitching change coming up here in Austin.
5 innings on the weekend before coming in, but only a 2.62 ERA. She's done a good job. She's going to be very different than Volpe in the fact she throws a lot of downspin.
Nice backhand by Morrison on to second for 1. And that's the second out of the inning. Talk about their pitching and defense. Morrison over at short with a nice play. 2 away for Mia Scott. Scott has reached twice with a single and a walk. Texas out hitting Penn State 4-1. In this inning, the double from Jolie Mitchell, the 2-run double from Washington, and then Hunter with a pinch hit RBI single. Two-0.
Well, interesting, Mia Scott got the first hit of the ball game for Texas, but since then, Penn State hasn't really given her anything too close.
Runner is going. Henry will steal second. And she is in scoring position. 5th stolen base of the year for the freshman. Garcia able to keep that in front of her after it bounced in the dirt.
Second 3-ball count for Mia Scott.
Scott to right center, charging in is Brunson and makes the grab on the run. But Texas breaks through with 3 here. Kavon back out in the circle. Here's Liana Jones. That is now 4 straight fly balls now to center field. Henry busy over there.
Yeah, Caden Henry is getting her work in, and if you want to talk about the second out and the third as well, that's 5 fly balls that she's had, tracking those down. And when you're a pitcher, anytime you have a speedy outfielder and you see it go straight up, you're excited because most of the time that's recorded as an out.
She had it easy playing left field for the majority of the season. Not too much action, but her and Bella Dayton swapped positions recently, so Dayton in left. And Henry busy in center. Here's Emily Maddock, the third baseman. Grounded out in the second. Ever since giving up the home run, make it now 14 consecutive batters Kavana's faced without giving up a hit.
Tegan Kavon is an elite pitcher, and the difference with that is a lot of times when you do make a mistake, because you're so fine-tuned, you're able to hit really good spots, have great movement. Mistakes are usually over the white. Hitters get very excited to see it. I can feel her pain. There were too many times that the lone hit or the lone run was either extra bases or a home run, and you always just wonder, why when I give up the one, can it not be a single or a dribbler or something?
You can see the single tear streaming down your face right now. Texas right now with the best team ERA since your final season in burnt orange. It's the last time the Longhorns had an ERA below 1.
Well, that's not easy to do with 5 arms on staff.
Swing and a miss.
So all 5 pitchers being able to contribute to that. See Sophia Simpson there in the bullpen. Mac Morgan was getting some work in earlier as well. There she is, the junior transfer from Arizona State. And the other piece of that is your staff all understanding what their role is in the big picture and on any given night. You know, take Mac Morgan, for instance, was one of the 2 starters last season, got a load of the starts, bulk of the innings.
Well, how about Tegan Kavan, back-to-back 9-pitch innings. She is absolutely, and slugging percentage. She's due up second in this inning, with Katie Stewart leading off. Stewart has now reached, in 17 straight games, reached in all but 1 game in a Longhorns uniform so far. That's got to be so helpful to Reese Atwood to get those nights off behind the plate.
Well, yeah, as a catcher, you sit back there and squat 56 games out of the year. By the end, the postseason rolls around, your legs are starting to feel it just a little bit. That can then in turn affect your hitting depending on what kind of shape you're in, and even if you're in the best shape, that just starts to tire you out. So I mentioned Katie Stewart getting a couple starts here this weekend. Reese Atwood not having to carry the load at all in this tournament. I'm sure the coaching staff will look at stats and against teams that run, see how many times do they want to let Reese start versus Katie start. Maybe a dead split. They both have a great arm. You know, Reese was highly touted as a defensive catcher prior to coming into Texas, and obviously let her offense do the talking for herself. But Katie Stewart as well, we've already mentioned, has a strong arm to pair with Reese Atwood.
Yeah, Atwood threw out 7 base runners last year. They haven't really tested her too much this season. So she'll be due up next as the count goes 2-2 to Stewart. Rips 1 foul.
And back on the catching front, it's hard to test catchers' arms too much when your base runners are at a premium. You don't want to get runners thrown out when it might be the only 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 if you're lucky you get a game. But I'm sure Reese Atwood and Katie Stewart are always waiting.
Yeah, Penn State has only had 2 base runners tonight. 1 wasn't really on base. It was a home run by Gordon and then the walk to Mack. And that's it.
Well, and if Penn State gets someone on, they like to run. They've run 9 times so far in this tournament, successful 6 of those.
Full count coming up to Katie Stewart from Paige Maynard, the sophomore. Stewart absolutely demolishes one. The freshman off the building. Home run number 4 of her career.
Well, after 8 pitches, Katie Stewart takes the 9th. Deep left field. She knows it off the bat. She doesn't even watch it. Did she see it hit off the building and the window there in the newly built grad housing? We've seen a few go over that construction fence, but for me, Alex, that's a first. I haven't seen one go actually off the building. Katie Stewart with pure power. Great
Workmanship right there on that grad student housing. Solid glass, solid material, because that one traveled 289 feet, and Reese Atwood follows that up with a single.
Well, since season started, we've been asking if the glass out there is double pane, shatterproof. We've got our
just
answer.
found out, yeah. Here is Atwood reaching for the first time tonight.
Well, Reese Atwood being aggressive early in the count, something she hasn't done in her first 2 at-bats. She is such a good hitter early in the count. She likes to be aggressive, not giving herself too much time to think. So what a response too after the home run by Katie Stewart to keep the pressure on Paige Maynard.
Adea Wallace, a couple of stolen bases here in her freshman season, pinch running over at first for Atwood. Here is Leanne Good, who walked in the 4th inning. We've already seen Reese Atwood hit a number of home runs this year, and they're usually around 240, 250 feet. Again, Katie Stewart's was just shy of 290.
Well, and this weekend, Tarleton State had a third baseman, Katie Schaefer, who hit one of the loudest home runs we had heard, and it just cleared the construction fence, which we thought was far. So Katie Stewart, man, that was impressive.
That was home run number 29 on the year for Texas. Top 10 in the nation in home runs per game. Good. Right center. You look at the home run numbers and you say, who could be in front of Texas? Who could be in front of Reese Atwood? That is Miami of Ohio, who is lighting it up this year in the home run department, including a number of those against Oklahoma.
Yeah, they had Oklahoma on the ropes this weekend as well. Ended up losing a 9-7 slugfest, but they're known for their hitting, and Carly Spade leading them right now with 13 home runs.
13 home runs
in 16 games.
Unreal. There's Jolie Mitchell, a double and a walk. Texas now out hitting Penn State 6-1. Wallace is going, the throw on time, and they got her. We told you Gabby Garcia had a good arm behind the dish, and she throws out the freshman, Adea Wallace.
All the talk about Texas catchers, Gabby Garcia says, well, I'm from the state of Texas. Let me show you what I can do. Perfect throw on the money to retire Adea Wallace.
Base is empty now for Mitchell. Mitchell launches one to right center field. That one off the base of the wall. Jolie Mitchell with her second double of the night, and all she's done has hit the ball hard since transferring over from Notre Dame. I mean, she has just been a really impressive addition.
Well, whether she's starting or she comes off the bench, she comes into the box and swings a powerful bat. This pitch up in the zone, she drives that to right center. Looked like it was going to be a home run, possibly. I think as a hitter, that's where you wish the walls weren't 10 feet tall, but Jolie Mitchell with another extra base hit of the night.
And that just knocked out another Penn State pitcher. We will have our third arm for the Nittany Lions coming into the circles. We take a timeout in Austin in a 3-run game. Paige Maynard responsible for the runner on second. Jolie Mitchell replaced by Lydia Spalding, the junior out of Youngstown, Ohio. And again, Penn State down to only 3 pitchers right now, and this is the third of the night.
Well, Lydia Spalding going to be a very different look. Left-handed, throws upper 60s, will work up in the zone. But like Maddie Volpe, has been emotionally a little fire starter for Penn State.
Here is Alyssa Washington. Delivered a 2-run double in the 4th. This bottom half of the order doing some damage for Texas. Mitchell with 2 doubles, Washington with the double. Vic Hunter had the RBI single. 2-0 to Washington. Penn State's only loss of the year heading in it tonight was February 23rd against Liberty.
Well, Texas has shown they're going to be disciplined up in the zone tonight, so Lydia Spalding going to have to adjust, be able to locate her screwball, her off speed, down in the zone.
Spalding delivers a strike. Shaking off the sign, the action clock at 5. Washington rips one to left field. That will drop in off the bottom of the wall. And Alyssa Washington having herself a night. Makes it 5-1 Texas.
Well, Lydia Spalding went on the inner half for strike 2 in this at bat. Excuse me, strike 1. Alyssa Washington, knowing that's where she got her strike, being on time for an inside pitch. As we mentioned, Texas usually hits the up pitch well, and Alyssa Washington stayed with that one off the fence there.
How about Jolie Mitchell and Alyssa Washington in the 6 and 7 spots? 4 doubles combined. Here is Jordan Whitaker pinch hitting for Ashton Maloney. Whitaker 2 for 7 on the year.
Well, those 4 doubles, Alex, have now brought Texas's total to 23 extra base hits here in the Longhorn Invitational.
Been on a tear all season long. We want to know what kind of person Jordan Whitaker is early on in the season. She got a start in honor of being a senior in a midweek game. And they asked her if she wanted a second or third at bat later on in the contest, and she said, no, I'd rather see some of the youngsters like a Dea Wallace get an opportunity. Give them a chance.
Yeah, Dea Wallace had pinch ran for Jordan Whitaker earlier in that game, and they said, hey, Jordan, you're up. And she said, does that mean, they call her Dea, does that mean Dea doesn't get an at bat? And they said, well, yeah. And she said, no, let her hit. So big opportunity for the senior to go ahead, pass the bat, pass the tradition.
A selfless player, yeah.
A little selfless action there.
Career .260 hitter with 7 homers. To shallow center, charging in is Jones, showing off that speed. But Texas scores 2 more. Over to second, and Leanne Good is at first. Other than that, everything's the same. Giselle Hernandez swinging at the first pitch. Martinez makes the grab.
Everything changed, but dead up the middle.
Right. Sophomore getting some extra work. Started a chunk of games early on in the year. We go back up to the top of the order. Haley Brunson.
Well, Tegan Cavan starting to be efficient with her pitch count. See there, Penn State being aggressive first pitch, giving them something they can put the bat on but not get too much of. Easy fly ball for 1 out. And even count here, second pitch against Brunson. But that's what's going to make Tegan Cavan hard to hit as her career goes on. She has elite spin, a lot of upspin. So while you think you have it as a hitter, her spin will make it flip up for a pop fly really quickly.
Has now gone 16 straight batters without giving up a hit. And she's always so efficient. Just 63 pitches now. Remember the other week she had the complete game 66 pitch performance. That was in 7 innings.
Well, she uses a rise ball at 2 different levels, and when you can throw a low rise ball, a lot of times you will get weak pop-ups on it, and that's what she's been able to do. But Haley Brunson able to stay on top of that one for a single to center field.
That's the first hit since the second batter of the game for Penn State, which was Maddie Gordon, who's coming up now. Early 1-0 lead. With 2 home runs on the season. Well, you mentioned it off the top. This is the part of the order that has done so much damage this weekend and throughout the season. The top 3 hitters in the Penn State lineup.
Well, they're the most experienced hitters in this lineup as well. 2 juniors, Haley Brunson, as you mentioned, transferred over from Pitt, but plenty of playing experience. Maddie Gordon and Caitlin Morrison.
3-0.
Kavon just missing, trying to use a little bit more of her curveball in the outer half.
3-1.
Might have been a makeup call there.
I want to say it.
That was a little high. That looked about belt high, but
Chopper over to Washington, backing up onto second for 1. 2 away. Here comes Caitlin Morrison. The team's leading hitter coming into this contest, now batting .356. It's been a mainstay over at short for her entire career. Big Ten Player of the Week, starting her 163rd career game. Penn State, just a couple of hits tonight. Kavon with 6 strikeouts and 1 walk through 5 2/3. Big swing and a miss from Morrison. Morrison doesn't strike out often. 3 strikeouts compared to 10 walks this year. But now behind 0-2.
well, Kavon now using the outer half. You saw her elevate for strike 1 as Morrison was very aggressive. Threw that curveball a little bit lower in the zone there for strike 2.
Got her on 3 straight pitches. Strikeout number 7 on the night for the freshman.
5 different arms. You know, Tegan Kavon obviously looks like she's going the distance tonight. We saw Citlali Gutierrez go the distance yesterday against Hofstra. But Coach White and Patty Ruth Taylor have been able to mix and match the arms. They have a very deep but a very dynamic staff. No 2 pitchers are similar. They're able to keep offenses guessing once a new pitcher substitutes in.
Bella Dayton 0 for 1. Struck out in the 2nd inning. Vic Hunter pinch hit for her in the 4th. Texas was held scoreless through the first 3 innings, but then put 3 on the board in the 4th, couple more in the 5th inning. Three and 1 from Spalding.
Spalding uses that arm side a lot to left-handed hitters, screwball, rise ball, but Bella Dayton being patient.
Texas trying to hand Penn State just their 2nd loss of the season. Texas's only loss came in extra innings here at McCombs to Stanford. Dayton gets into one, hammers it to right center, and Bella Dayton rounding second, heads for 3rd. Dayton sliding in with a leadoff triple.
Well, there's nothing like showing bunt and then putting a charge in one like Bella Dayton just did. This pitch up in the zone. But watch her hustle out of the box. She doesn't watch it, well, I should say doesn't stand and watch it. She is sprinting around the whole way. She sees it get stuck in the base of the wall and turns on another gear. Leadoff triple for Bella Dayton.
Her first of the season, back up to the top of the order. Caden Henry looking to reach safely for the first time tonight. I remember it was Dayton leading off for a decent amount of the first month of the season. Henry towards the bottom of the order at the 7-8 spot. They've kind of swapped roles in the lineup. Corners playing in. 0-2.
Well, again, when you talk about the depth of Texas's roster, it makes sense. Caden Henry's batting .458, 500 on base percentage, move her to the leadoff. Well, most programs in the country would give for a .395, 549 average on base percentage like Bella Dayton has.
Absolutely, up and down this lineup, Texas hitters batting well above 350. Ball one to Henry. Texas has had at least one base runner in all 6 innings so far. We continue to say the bottom 4 hitters in the lineup putting in a lot of work tonight. Mitchell with 2 doubles, Washington with 2 doubles, Hunter with an RBI single, and then moments ago Dayton with a triple.
Well, as a staff, when you go to make a lineup, just so easy to find 9 hitters to put in a lineup when they're all producing the way they are, but so many times the bottom part of the lineup will be the slow starters or the holes sometimes, and you want to be able to continue the momentum down there, but they've been the momentum starters for the most part.
Mike White with plenty of options on that lineup card. 2-2. Backing up is Hernandez into shallow right center, and at the last second, Jones with the basket catch. So 1 away as Dayton remains on third. Tricky play.
Off the bat, that ball looked like it could have been in no man's land with Penn State's infield playing in, and great base running by Bella Dayton right there. Yes, it's shallow, but if Giselle Hernandez catches that going backwards, Bella Dayton has a better chance at tagging and going. A lot of people say if it's shallow, go ahead and be off. If it falls, you score, but in that instance, depending on who caught it, Dayton could have been breaking for home with the intent to score as opposed to just drawing the throw.
And also great base running by Henry, who a lot of batters would have just walked that off knowing it was potentially pop up. She was hustling, was ready right on second if that ball was dropped.
Well, yeah, that's what you teach, and you'd like to see it. But yes, with speed right there, if that ball was going to fall or there's a collision that could knock it out, Henry was getting herself in scoring position as well.
Scott with the dart off the wall, foul.
Well, now the Texas lefties are having to make that adjustment to the inside pitch. We've seen a couple of them pull that hard foul, and it's the same thing Volpe was doing to the right-handed hitters the first 3 innings of this game. Hefty dose of screwballs in the inner half.
1-2 on the way. Scott walked in the 3rd inning and singled in the 1st. One of 9 Texas hits. Scott launches one to deep right field, and the Horns have gone yard again. 7-1 Texas. Second of the year for Mia Scott.
Mia Scott may be one of the quickest athletes to make in-game adjustments. We saw her pull an inside pitch foul just 2 pitches before this. On time, drives that out into the middle of those bleachers in right field. Texas loving it.
249 feet. The Longhorns now with 30 home runs on the year in their 19th game. Here's Katie Stewart. Stewart went deep in the 5th and walked in the 1st. Texas just an extra base hitting machine tonight and all year long. This evening, 2 homers, a triple, and 4 doubles. Here is Stewart in the 5th.
If this doesn't impress you, I don't know what will.
289 feet. And here she goes again. No, just short, hauled in on the track by Maddock. Sounded good, but just a bit short. 2 away now in the 6th inning for Reese Atwood. Atwood singled in the 5th. Otherwise been a pretty quiet night for the sophomore. When you can put 7 runs on the board and you don't need much from her, that's saying something about the rest of this offense.
Well, and part of that is why she was so successful early in season. The pressure wasn't on her. She was able to approach each at bat and be able to take the outcomes.
Atwood retired, so here we go. Penn State down to their final 3 outs of the night. 7-0 in the year. Look at the strikeout to walk ratio, not only tonight, but on the year now. 46 Ks, just 7 walks. For Penn State, it's the 4, 5, and 6 hitters, as the Nittany Lions on the verge of losing for just the 2nd time this year. Gabby Garcia 0 for 2.
I'm not going to take away anything from Penn State's pitching staff, but I have to wonder if this game, or at the beginning of the tournament, when both teams are fully fresh. You know, we talked at the beginning of this, Maddie Volpe has thrown quite a bit this weekend already. If the outcome would have been any different. But I will say, despite it being game 5 of 3 days for Penn State, the energy is not waning from the Nittany Lions.
Not ready to go back to Happy Valley, where it's a little bit chillier.
Good thing is they don't have to for another 5 days.
In Texas, right?
They head down to Waco on Wednesday, and then opposite way south on 35 Thursday and Friday to face on Texas State Bobcats.
For the Longhorns, they'll be back at home Wednesday night against UT Arlington. 3-1 lifted into foul territory. Good is there for out number 1. Talk about the Nittany Lions Texas Trek. Baylor on Wednesday, Texas State, a couple of matchups. They hit the road again. Penn State came into this one 15-1, best start in program history, but down to their last 2 outs. Here is Audrey Mendoza, 0 for 2. Tegan Cavan gave up the home run to the 2nd batter of the game. Since then, just a single allowed, and that is all for the freshman.
Well, if you're Mike White and his pitching coach, Coach Patty Ruth Taylor, you have to be extremely excited with how efficient she is, but how she attacks the zone. She's able to go for a strike. You foul it off, so what? Who cares? She goes right back at you. She doesn't flinch. Her poise is just something to be commended at this young stage of her career.
Mendoza lays off the 1-2.
Well, Mendoza only 5 at-bats in this tournament, got a start yesterday. Was able to make the most of that opportunity, so Penn State keeping her in the lineup.
Strikeout number 8 for Cavan. 2 away in the 7th.
Well, just her second strikeout looking, but this time a low rise ball there, right above the knees on the inner half of the plate. Not trying to induce the swing and miss on that one.
It'll be up to Liana Jones to keep this night going for Penn State, but she takes strike 1 from Cavan. Keegan Cavan has already beaten some top-tier teams. Stanford, UCLA, Louisiana probably re-enter the top 25 after beating Oklahoma. Trying to take down 15-1 Penn State tonight.
Texas faithful on their feet clapping with the 2-strike count, 2 outs.
Got her! Strikeout number 9 to end the night.